Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, happy Friday. Let's talk about how we're going to end this month and why we need to watch out for September. What's coming in September that can move Bitcoin and crypto? And let's talk about everything else under the sun. All right, let's do it. Welcome. Not too bad. 59.6, still going sideways. Would like to see us push higher today, obviously. Last day of the month before the weekend hits. And the U.S. market is green, very green. So we do have a good chance. And that's because we received some inflation data. PCE, which is what Powell likes to see, rather than CPI, is showing that inflation is about 2.5%, even though this has increased 0.2% in July. Overall, we are mid-twos, and this is what he wants to see. He talked about how, years ago, he wants to see inflation come back down between 2 and 3%. This is exactly what he's getting, right? Again, I don't know how these are like really measured because, again, if you look at inflation, you look at cost of goods, cost of hot dogs minus the mustard, they are significantly more expensive than years ago, except Costco ones. Anything out there is significantly more than years ago. So I don't know how we got inflation back down, but we'll take it because that is one of the major things to look forward to next month. When Powell does cut the Fed fund rate for first time in like 4 years, 3 or 4 years, and hopefully it's a 50 basis point cut and not a 25. So we got that data this morning. Also, those of you guys that are in Europe, this is also good too. The Eurozone inflation came out and it was really low, 2.2%, even lower than the US. Is this believable? Once again, I don't know. Those of you guys in Europe, you tell me. Are hot dogs in Europe very cheap? What about groceries? And it's surprising because the war is still ongoing. And yeah. But anyways, so that's also good. So that means ECB is set to cut rate also. So, yeah, we got a lot of rate cuts to look forward to in September. That's the good thing. We're going to get a lot of rate cuts moving forward. But, you know what? The spending doesn't stop. See, that's the thing. With inflation, we got data, and it's highly, I would say, manipulated or rigged, whatever. But the bottom line is, why do we have inflation? Well, because the money printer never stops. Money printer never stops anywhere. Doesn't stop in Europe, doesn't stop in Asia, doesn't stop in the U.S. The U.S. government planning on adding another $16 trillion to our national deficit. We're going to keep on spending. We're going to keep on printing. We're going to keep on borrowing. And this is the reason why we have never-ending inflation. So despite Powell or any Fed chairs, their efforts, it's all just band-aids. It's stopgaps. It doesn't really stop the true cause. And the only way to opt out of it is with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the ultimate hedge against inflation, right? Even Elon knows this. All right, so we're starting out with some good inflation data, so that's good. Let's see if the broader market gets pushed upwards today. But what else is happening? There is some FUD. Okay, it's not all good. I know a lot of you guys come in, join in, and expect me to only say good things. But I will say this. There are some FUD-ish things for September. And yesterday, something shocking happened. BlackRock had an outflow, We haven't seen this for months. I said Larry Fink does not sell Bitcoin. He's been doing what he can to make sure that there's no Bitcoin outflowing. But for the second time in iBit's history, we had outflow. Nothing to panic about. Not like a huge outflow like ARK, for example. But we did have outflow. So was the selling pressure just too much yesterday for Larry Fink to overcome? Possibly. So hopefully this is not a continuing trend. It's just a slip up. There's just nothing he can do, right? But that is something that I've been talking about for quite some time. I'm actually really surprised there was outflow yesterday. And hopefully that's not a precursor to a lot more outflows in September. Because September historically has been a bad month for Bitcoin, right? If you look at this month so far, surprisingly, this month is barely in the red. A lot of people think, well, we're like way, way, way down in August. We're not. We're barely in the red. And we actually had a green July. And in June, even though we had a red, it wasn't bad. May was good. April was bad. And then we had pretty good February and March, obviously, right? But if you look at September, traditionally speaking, September is not a good month. However, if you look at 2023, we had a lot of greens, right? Now we're in 2024. Are we going to see the same? 2023, if you look at, we had a lot of greens because 2022 was horrible. And 2024, we started our year hot. We've been pretty much going sideways, like I've been saying, a little more red. Are we going to see a green month or a red month? Based on history, red. But we know Bitcoin does this thing. Bitcoin goes up and down, sometimes drastically within a single month. And we know that the rate cuts are coming starting next month, right? And we haven't had that for many, many, many years. So there are catalysts that are coming. But traditionally speaking, September is bad. And what else could be bad is this. There is speculation that, hey, Mt. Gox haven't redistributed for a while. U.S. government have not sold in a while. So can they both be adding to the sell pressure in September? I don't know. It's just speculation at this point. If you look at Mt. Gox, they still have about 46,000 Bitcoin set to be redistributed. That's a lot. The U.S. government has about 13 billion, right? So it does sound scary. But however, Mt. Gox has distributed over 100,000 Bitcoin, and you could argue it did not affect the market at all because most people that took their Bitcoin just held it. They didn't dump it. They didn't just massive dump on the market. So even Mt. Gox distributes 46,000 Bitcoin. Does not necessarily mean it's bad. Maybe nothing happens, right? But now, as for the U.S. government, that's a different story. U.S. government, we know that they all of a sudden sold for no reason earlier this month. We don't know what the plans are. But you figure at this point, they should stop because it's very likely the next president wants to take all the Bitcoin that the U.S. government has and put it in the Treasury and make it a strategic reserve because that's been said. So I don't know why anyone within the government would be trying to sell it off now. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? So, yeah, so we got a couple, like I said, a couple fuddish things going on in September. But that doesn't mean it's going to be true. Ultimately, these are all distractions. They're all distractions. The main thing you need to worry about is the supply and demand of Bitcoin. And demand keeps on rising and supply keeps on going down. Despite all these things that may add to maybe a little more sell pressure. But keep in mind, the buy pressure is only building. Okay, look at this. Wells Fargo is planning on preparing its wealth advisors to actively pitch Bitcoin ETFs. This is from a $1.7 trillion bank. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. The buy pressure is there and will only increase. Even though BlackRock made a mistake yesterday, had outflow, but they have already taken in over $20 billion of Bitcoin. And now all these major banks are also pitching. They're pitching Bitcoin ETFs to their wealthy clients. The ones that have tens of millions, hundreds of millions, maybe billions. And exchange reserves keeps on dropping. Like I said, supply and demand, right? Supply keeps plummeting. There's only so much to go around. I mean, look at that. It just keeps going down and down and down and down and down. This is showing the miners, but yesterday I showed one just from the exchanges. Keeps going down. Supply is going down, demand is going up. So all the things I've talked about, all the fuddish things that may happen short term, they're all distractions. They're all distractions. Bitcoin is what you want to buy and hold forever, basically. Because the longer you hold, the more you make. It's really that simple. Here's an interesting chart that shows the price versus the hash rate. With Bitcoin, it's the only crypto out there where the price trails the hash rate. Everything else that's still proof of work, everything else out there, it's reverse. The hash rate chases the price. With Bitcoin, the price chases the hash rate. And that's because the miners understand they continue to mine and mine and mine and mine because they know this is a game where you only have so much. There's only so many Bitcoin, and it's a game of accumulation. Whoever accumulates the most wins. That's it. That's it. So if you're looking at this, the price versus hash is at an all-time low. And the last few times we saw this was when Bitcoin was getting ready to go ballistic, parabolic, the banana zone, right? This is right before that time. And we got a lot of other charts that show the same thing. Here's one from the Puell Multiple that's showing that every single cycle, we do have a bottom. We come up a little bit, and then we have a reaccumulation. We fall down a little bit again. And then what comes afterwards? The parabolic phase. I mean, it's like clockwork every single cycle. A lot of you guys haven't lived through previous cycles. If you had, you know this is the truth. Every single cycle, you have a lot of volatility, sometimes very scary drops, but that doesn't mean the cycle's over. It just continues. Like I said, all the fuddish things for Bitcoin are all distractions, distracting you from the truth. And the truth is, Bitcoin is the best asset to hold, and all you have to do is HODL and DCA. That's it. That's it. Here's another one. This is the last one I'll show you. Okay. A pattern that Bitcoin is in right now. Very, very, very similar to what happened in 2017 before Bitcoin broke out from about $2,000 and went up to $20,000. Okay. That, if you do the math, is a 10x. Does that mean Bitcoin is about to break out from its low of what, 50-something thousand to $500,000? Hey, it can happen. It can happen, but with diminishing returns, probably not. But you know what? Sometimes stranger things have happened, right? Who knows how high Bitcoin's going to go by the end of the cycle. But we do see a lot of similarities. History doesn't repeat, but it tends to rhyme, and it often rhymes. So it's looking good. All right, what else is there? A few other things. Yeah, so Elon's lawsuit with whoever was alleging that he was manipulating Doge is over, so this could be good. We could see Elon talk more about Doge, those of you guys that are Doge holders. Maybe this opens up him talking a lot about memes again. But if you're a chartist, you'll notice that Doge has gone through these periods where it just seems like it's dead and it just keeps trending down until it pumps up to the moon. So those of you guys that are still holding on Doge, wondering if it'll go back to 70 cents and maybe $1 and maybe even beyond that, it may be coming. Maybe coming. Especially if Elon starts talking more about Doge. What else is there? Bloomberg Terminal now have added Polymarket data. So when they're doing their polls and they're trying to come out with their percentages and stuff, now they actually can pull it from Polymarket. That's actually kind of crazy if you think about it, right? A decentralized system, I don't even know what you call it, decentralized market. I don't even know what you call officially. Betting market, whatever market. But anyways, it's a decentralized system. Now that's being used in Bloomberg Terminal by all Wall Street traders and analysts. Pretty big. Pretty big. And lastly, I saw this. There's a new ticketing platform that's coming out of Avalanche called Ticketbase and Ticket Chain. They're going to have their own chain. They handle 25 million tickets per year. That's crazy, including the Turkish national team, UEFA Champions League, Europa League, and many other concerts, festivals, and so forth. That's pretty darn good. On top of Avalanche. So good for Avalanche. All right. That's pretty much it. Let's see. Losing my voice here. Today, the broader market's pretty good. MicroStrategy's up. Coinbase down a little bit. Dollar General's up. Nvidia's up, finally. All right. Let's do some Q&A. All right. Good morning, all. Not sure why I'm losing my voice. All right, scrolling down. Let's see if I missed anything. Elmer says, I hate mustard. Crypto Max says, I hate mustard too. Chris says, I hate mustard. I don't know anyone that really likes mustard. Can we have a supercar crypto cruise episode? Sir, that's all you ask about. I don't have a supercar. Well, I do, but I can't drive every week. Pomp, yes. Cane sauce. So many people go crazy about cane sauce. It's good with canes, but it's like not crazy. How do you feel about the A86? It's a nice little fun car. It's underpowered. It needs a bit more power. It's kind of small, but if you're a small dude, it's fine. It's very agile, very light. It feels like a go-kart kind of. Cassie Paz. Do you like Bitcoin's meme dog, and do you think it'll list on exchanges soon? Not really. I don't pay attention to memes on Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin should have memes. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. I like to see Bitcoin stay pure. I don't want to see all the distractions on top of Bitcoin. You could have distractions on Sol. You could have it on Avalanche. You could have it on, Base. When I say distractions like memes and all the, all this stuff that's going on, that's fine. But let's leave Bitcoin alone and make it pure. Just a store of value. That's all you need Bitcoin to be. Bitcoin doesn't need to be anything else. I feel like so many people are trying to make Bitcoin something more than it should be. It's the greatest store of value that we have. That's really it. You don't need it to do anything else. Why do so many people like cane sauce? I do think Raising Cane's chicken fingers are probably the best I've ever had. I would say that. I mean, it tastes good with the sauce, but I wouldn't use the sauce with anything else. Let's see. Will you be in Miami for Art Basel? I don't get the whole deal about Art Basel. The answer is no. But I don't get it. It's like just a lot of art pieces that no one cares about. Supposedly there's like crypto stuff going on. I don't notice anything. I think people just want to party in Miami. That's it. I'm sick of Miami. No more for me. Is the institutions going to let BTC following the cycle or follow the cycle without manipulation? Hey, you know what? Manipulation sometimes goes both ways. When we have seen crazy pumps and short squeezes, some of that is due to manipulation too. So you can't have a one way. You have to have it both ways, right? So towards the end, especially during the FOMO stage, that's when the institutions are going to really be buying. So overall, the market hasn't changed. It's ahead of before if you look at it. I mean, its current path right now, or where it sits, is further ahead than previous times. So right now it's just like it's boring. I know. You just gotta wait. Just have patience. Which in the top 20 crypto has the biggest upside in your opinion? Top 20, huh? So that ends right around near. The funny thing about this question is you figure something like near with like close to 5 billion versus Avalanche, which is 10 billion. So you figure like near should have twice the potential of Avalanche, but that's just not how it works in crypto. In the top 20, for me, I'm most bullish on Solana outside of Bitcoin. If I had to pick a second one, it would probably be Toncoin. And if I had to pick a third one, it would probably be Avalanche. And the fourth, now that's where it gets hard. I probably would pick like Near as the fourth. Marshmallow, you ask that every single day, and no, I haven't, and I don't know what it is, and I don't want to look up anything that starts with Commodore in front of it. B asks, hey, George, I talked to one of my Democrat councilmen. He said cryptocurrency will be bad for retail investors if it isn't regulated by the government. Well, that's something that I would imagine he would say. Pancakes, waffles, or French toast. It depends on if you're a diet or not. If you're not on a diet, just go with, chocolate pancakes or something. You can put all the you could cover pancakes with all like Nutella and all that stuff. But if you're on a diet and you're watching your what you eat, you can't eat any of that. You gotta go with like French toast. At least you get some protein in you. Say something about VeChain. I don't know what to say and stop spamming. If it's a car you go only get in Australia, of course, I'm not going to know about it because I don't follow Australian cars. How's your knees lately? They're okay. They're not nearly as bad as before. I've been working out more, trying to push it a little more, and it seems okay. I haven't really played a lot of basketball or anything, but so far so good. Can you foresee any Black Swan events? I actually mentioned some scary stuff, I guess, for September. Maybe government or Mt. Gox sells more, although Mt. Gox I don't think really an issue. September historically is a bad month, but it's not always the case. Sometimes it could be good. It really depends. But like I've been saying, these are all distractions. Long term, you just have to worry about supply and demand, and supply keeps diminishing and supply keeps on increasing. Jordan, what would you be doing if crypto never became a thing? I'd probably be in IT still, working a 9 to 5 and hating it every day. Um, you know, that's how I keep myself going. A lot of you guys may wonder, like, oh, George, why do you still stream twice a day? You're already successful. Like, how are you doing it? And there are days I really don't want to stream twice a day. There are days where I just don't want to stream at all, and I'm so tired. But I always rationalize it by thinking, well, if I wasn't doing this, I'll be working a 9 to 5, getting stuck in traffic for 2 hours, and I have to report to a boss. Would I rather be doing what I'm doing now or what I used to do before? Um, so then, I motivate myself and say, just go and goddamn stream. Even if there's nothing to talk about, I gotta figure it out. It's still better than the alternative. Um, man, man about, I don't know how to say it. Friday night in Australia, have a beer with us and talk V8s. I love V8s. I love V8 cars. I don't know why all the manufacturers are getting rid of V8s. Jordan says, I own my business and still have to answer to a bunch of people. You got the right idea. Thank you. And congrats to you as well. Why gold has performed better than Bitcoin this time? You got to expand your horizons, man. You're only looking at short term. Look at over the last 10 years and then tell me gold has outperformed Bitcoin. Or even 5 years. You know, there's like no movies anymore, right? Like, I never even see commercials. You know, one good thing about watching commercials back in the day, before all the streaming services, at least you know like what's coming up, right? If there's a major, when I don't know, when the NBA season starts, or when the next big movie commercial or movie is coming out, or whatever, right? Um, Now that you don't see commercials, you don't get informed on any of that stuff. Like I have no idea what movie's coming out anymore. Unless like I see people talk about it on TikTok or something, I have no idea. I don't know. I can't follow sports. I don't know what's going on. You know, like I have no idea anything anymore. All I know about is crypto news. That's it. Like even new cars that are coming out, whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's just me in general. I still remember in the old days when I go to airports, I'd go to those like newsstands and buy the latest issue in Car and Driver or something and check it out. Now it's like no more. Yeah, I have no idea about new shows, new movies, new anything. Yeah, now it kind of sucks where you're watching a streaming service that you're paying and then they insert ads also at the beginning or something. And it's like, isn't this what I was paying to avoid? Opinion on Filecoin, is it possible 50% of last top? I think you're asking if Filecoins will go back up, and the answer is yes. It's a lot weaker now. It's a lot weaker because there's a lot more decentralized storage and depend plays, but I think it'll still come back up. You need to watch Lift with Kevin Hart. With Kevin Hart, it's from this year. It starts out with the NFT heist, but not what, but it's not what you think an NFT would be. Movie is dope. You know, I'll admit I'm not a big fan of Kevin Hart in movies. It's like he always plays the same role over and over and over again, some goofball, and I don't know. It's like not. I'm looking for like new original movies. You just don't see that anymore. What is your favorite classic muscle car? Yeah, you know, my favorite has to be. Let me bring it up. I've never driven one, but I just think it looks great. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, if I was gonna get a muscle car, I'd get something like this. Like a 69 Camaro SS, lowered. I mean, I mean, that just looks good to me. Always been a fan of this. If I was gonna get a muscle car, that's what I would get. It's funny, it's like, as time goes forward, I mean, if you think about it, like a muscle car has been, it's like the 60s, right? So now it's like 60 years later. Cars have changed, and I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's like we just don't see iconic cars like that anymore. Like, I guess there's some from the 90s, like all the rice burner ones that people still like, but they're not like muscle cars. So you have this muscle car generation, then you got like all the rice burner stuff from the 90s. And then what else do you have? Now we're like going into the EV generation, right? And no one likes that. And I don't know what's going to come afterwards. But, it's like, I think these certain generation of cars will always be valuable. Like even 100 years in the future, right? I think people will still be collecting 60s and early 70s muscle cars. Have you gone to the Shelby Museum in Vegas? No, I have not. This one's sick. Like, how much does it even go for? $176,000, man. Would you rather buy this or would you rather buy a new ZR1? That's the question. I don't know. It's just tough. If you had $180,000, would you get this or the new ZR1? I mean, I would say most people say get the ZR1, but it's just a different. It's just a different breed of car. I could build that Camaro for 50K. I don't think you can, man. Well, maybe you can, but most of it is labor work. If you put in like 1,000 hours, you know, for free, then of course. Peter says, I'd rather buy more BTC with that money. Well, of course you would. But what if you're filthy rich already? Then what would you buy? Right? We're playing hypotheticals here, right? So you already have more than enough BTC. So then what car would you buy? Way more than 1,000 hours, but I built several hot rods. It's more than 1,000 hours. How many hours would you say then? 2,000 hours? 3,000? 1,000 hours is a lot, right? How many days is 1,000 hours? 24. 42 days. There are some modern classics, Skyline, GTR, Carrera. I mean, Carrera is not a classic. This is exotic. But yeah, Skyline, GTR, Supra. I mean, those, you know, that's what I call like the rice burners. Um, you know, I remember growing up, Supra twin turbos was what everyone wanted to buy. What was it? I mean, growing up, this is what everyone talked about. '93 twin turbo 6-speed stock. And people just go crazy with their turbos. David, nice. Stanley says, true enough, George, supply and demand holds, but price can only go so much before equilibrium and the market becomes saturated. But the thing is, just think about it. Do you think we're anywhere close to that point? Do you think the market's saturated when it comes to how many billions of people are on the planet and how many people that actually hold Bitcoin? We're nowhere close to that point. We're so far away. Yeah, see, like this doesn't appeal to me. I don't know, even though I'm Asian, like I do not want to get a Supra. I don't want to get a modified Supra. It just doesn't do anything for me. Was it the 2JZ engine, the bulletproof engine that, you know, you can push as much boost as you want? I don't know, it just doesn't appeal to me. The only thing from today with the impact that may stay like the 60s muscles is the Cybertruck. I don't think that's true. Not a whole lot of people hold crypto, believe it or not. Yeah, it's kind of like an echo chamber. Like people in crypto only talk to people in crypto, so it seems like everyone is in crypto, but in your everyday life, you just go ask people, very little know anything about crypto. They've never even heard of it. They don't even know what Bitcoin is. And that's why we're nowhere close to saturation, to market saturation. Lots of people are still burned after being dumped on in 2021, 2022. They weren't dumped on. That's just a normal market cycle. Every cycle, you go up and down, up and down. But the lows get higher and the highs keep going higher. That's just really that simple. When in doubt, zoom out. Right? Right here, went down, and then boom. Here, went down, boom. It's going to be the same thing. We're not over. We're going to end up like up here, like way up here, right? The cycle's not over yet, but every single cycle, Bitcoin gets bigger and stronger. Why are women turned off by crypto guys? Because crypto guys only care about crypto and not them. Gee, if you had $45K to buy a fun zip around car, what would you get, new or used? I would get a Civic Type R probably. That's right around 45,000. You could get a new one, and you'll have a lot of fun with that car. You could also get a Mustang GT for that price. A Mustang GT is also very fun. If you want that V8 sound, get a Mustang GT, and it's really quick too. It's really fast. I have an Integra Type S, love it. It looks great. I think the Type S looks better than the Type R. Interior is a little bit better, but it's also a little more pricey. All right, guys. Happy Friday. Overall, we're still going sideways a little bit. The broader market digesting inflation data. And you know what? There's a lot to look forward to in September. Some funnish things, but mostly good things. So stay strong, stay focused. I'll see you guys tomorrow with my crypto cruise, and Sunday with Sunday Walk, and then Monday. Back at it again. All right, have a good one. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys in September. Take care. Bye-bye.